towards Hanley, drops for Dykes, cleared off the line by Reece James, who's England's hero.
Here's the situation in the group then. England will qualify with a point against the Czechs on Tuesday, but to win the group they'll need to beat the Czechs because of that goal difference, and realistically Scotland have to beat Croatia. So what Scotland need to do, which they haven't done so far in the Euros, is to score, Graham. We'll get to that in a second. That was a really well-earned battling point from Scotland, who actually probably had the better of the chances as well.
Yeah, it wasn't just about battling, Mark. They played football. You know, they were composed. They came here, you know, a team that had a poor result first time out, low in confidence, and they played here with a bit of style, a bit of polish, composure. I thought they were fabulous throughout. I was worried about them in the second half because they put so much effort in to stop England playing. I thought that might dip in the second half, it might be a problem, but it wasn't. They stuck with it, and, you know, a great point for them, but thoroughly deserved. You cannot take that result away from Scotland. They weren't lucky, they thoroughly deserved that.
They certainly did. It was a nice moment at the end. Billy Gilmour with his Chelsea teammates, Mount and Chilwell. You could see the respect from the England players to Billy Gilmour and the impact he had this evening.
Yeah, of course he done really well, but forget all about that stuff at the end of the game. You know, you've got to give Scotland huge credit. Whatever they lacked in quality, they made up for it in desire and hunger, and they certainly at least deserve a draw. But for England, when you start the game, such a big game like that slowly, it's very hard to get going, and they never got quite up to speed.
They never, even though Grealish came on, they never found that urgency, really, did they? Even in large parts of the second half, Ian.
No, they didn't. You know, I was very surprised with it. The intensity in respect to the closing down wasn't there. They sat back. I think they enabled Scotland to build themselves into the game and build confidence. And in the end, chances that Scotland had, you have to say, we're quite fortunate to get a point out of that now. It's very disappointing. The substitutions confused me. Honestly, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say about that.
Well, let's hear from Harry Kane. He's having a tough Euros so far. Here's the England captain with Gabriel.
Harry, did you deserve any better than a draw?
The draw was probably a fair result. Credit to Scotland. They defended really well, created a few chances themselves. So, I mean, it wasn't our best performance, but look, it's another point closer to qualification. That's the ultimate goal for us now. So yeah, we just got to dust ourselves down, recover well, and look forward to another game in a few days.
Were you surprised as England's top scorer to be substituted?
No, look, it's part of the game. You know, the manager will make what decisions are best for the team. If he felt that was the right decision, then sometimes you just have to take it. So it is what it is. Like I say, we've got another big game in a few days. Let's recover well and get ready for that.
Did you feel anything in particular was missing from your game?
Personally, or that team? No, I think it was just a tough game. You know, like I said, Scotland defended really well. Made great blocks at the right times when we did have chances. And that's football. We're playing in the European Championship. No game's going to be easy. Scotland are playing for their lives in this tournament, and you saw that today.
A draw pretty much means qualification, but you're still second in the group to Czech Republic.
Yeah, that means we've got a big game in a few days against the Czechs. Obviously, we want to finish top. But yeah, look, like I said, it's a point. It's not what we wanted, but it's one step closer to qualifying, and that's what we want to do at the moment. So one step at a time, and yeah, we go again.
Ian, here are the stats with Harry Kane during this Euros. He's been on the pitch for 156 minutes. He's had 3 shots, none on target, and in 2 games, 6 touches in the opponent's penalty area. What is going on?
Well, I think it's plain to see that he doesn't look at his best. Let's face it, but you're looking at the chances created. You know, Reece James coming into the team, one of the best crossers from his position. Hardly any crosses, maybe at the end there. Not enough balls into that last third for people to play. What's he take Foden off for? You know, there's no way Phil Foden should be leaving the pitch today. For me, you know, it's very disappointing to see. You've got someone like Jadon Sancho on the bench, 16 goals, 20 assists this season. Doesn't even get on, and we need to create. You know, we could talk about Harry Kane and the chances, what he could have had, or how many touches he hasn't had. But at the same time, did we really create enough? Did we have enough? We just looked like a team that is we're meant to be favourites to win in the tournament. And look, was embarrassed. I was embarrassed for us today.
Does Harry Kane look fit? The question is as simple as that.
No, he does look leggy. You know, whatever about his general play, he doesn't look up to speed. He's on his heels all the time. And if England really want to compete in this competition, you need your star men to perform. We've seen Lukaku turn up, De Bruyne yesterday, Ronaldo. They need Kane at his best, and I'm glad Gareth took him off, because there's this talk about he's undroppable, he's the star, he's the main man. If he's not performing, you get him off. Rashford gave him a little bit more energy, but still not enough.
He's come off in both games so far, Graham. If you were the Scottish centre-backs at kick-off, you'll be thinking, it's Harry Kane, we know what he provides. They controlled him extremely well, the centre-backs.
The centre-backs had an easy night against them. You know, Harry Kane looks a shadow of the player we know he is. In 2 games, as Roy said, he looks leggy, lacking enthusiasm. Now, I know that a centre-forward, really, and Ian will tell you this, is 90% relying on the kind of passes he's getting, and he's not getting a great deal from that midfield. And we'll get back to the England midfield, because that ain't working. I don't care what anyone says, that ain't working. But Harry doesn't look himself. He looks jaded, he looks tired, and this is a guy that's going to get a big move this summer. He needs to waken himself up, whether he's, you know, he came off in the first game. Is he carrying something? Because he looks a shadow of himself.
Graham, could he be before the competition, there was all talk about he might be leaving Spurs, and maybe he's been distracted by that. That can be an energy sapper if you think you're moving club, or he's in talks with other clubs. That's not helpful.
Do you think it might be that?
Yeah, but even if that's the case, and you're still meant to put the performance in. You know, whatever happens, you're still meant to be linking, doing your stuff, getting your shots, or getting chances made for him. We've got the players to do it. You know, we've got the players to do it.
He's your one player. England's one player that's proven at this level to get goals on a regular basis. Fine, if that's not happening in this competition, you're not going very far. You'll go back to the World Cup in Russia. His goal got you where you got to. Harry Kane not performing, I mean, I think it's a major problem for you. Apart from Harry Kane, I don't see that team. Football ain't coming home with that team, I can tell you. Not the way they're playing.
You mentioned the last World Cup. One of the big strengths for England at the time was the set pieces. The delivery tonight, nowhere near good enough. And that sometimes can get you out of jail. OK, Stones had the head up, but general wide free kicks, corner kicks, how many times did they hit the first man? Nowhere near good enough.
There was one heart-in-the-mouth moment right at the end, Graham, wasn't there? Which was, I think, took us all back to the playground, didn't it? I half expected
England for much of the game. The passing was better, the movement was better. They looked like more of a team than England did. You know, the little boy Gilmore for his first international game was fantastic. Best midfield player on the pitch. Scotland were quality tonight. I don't want anyone to leave tonight and think it was just about Scotland's effort that got them the draw tonight. They were a good team tonight in that performance.
Yeah, but what happens with that is if you're coming in to play England, they would have been worried about England without a shadow of a doubt. Of course they would have. But when you start like that, you know, especially when you've won the first game, you want to be building momentum. When you start like that, a team is going to get confidence in the game. You saw the substitutes he made at the end. There were positive substitutions for Scotland because he felt they could get something. England at no stage got themselves in a position in that game where you feel like, oh, they're getting the upper hand. And that's not good.
But for all the plaudits again, right, for all the plaudits Scotland have got, it's that top end of the pitch, putting the ball in the back of the net, and it will obviously hold them back.
That's what we'll talk about in the next part, because Scotland, if they're going to progress, have to score. So we'll discuss where that goal may come from, who might provide it. More reaction to come from Wembley. Well, they came to London in their thousands. Some had tickets, some didn't, but whatever, they all go back to Scotland with a point. Full-time scenes in Glasgow, and they'll be booging all night long after Scotland got a very well-deserved point here at Wembley in their Euro match with England. Let's hear from the Scottish captain then, Andy Robertson. What has he made of it all? Here he is with Gabriel Clark.
Andy, did you deserve better than a point?
Yeah, I think we did. I don't think many people can argue that, to be honest. I think we had the big chances. At times we kept the ball superbly well, frustrated them, and yeah, on another night we could have came with more, but look, we'll take a point. It keeps us alive, but it's important that we use this feeling, we use the fans being happy with us going into Tuesday, and it's important that we try and use it to get a positive result, which we need to try and get through this group.
A first start for his country by Billy Gilmour. Where do you place that?
My God, right up there. I spoke to him in the hotel today. And you know, I just looked at him, and you know, to be fair to Billy, nothing phases him, you know, and that's why, you know, I believe he can have as many caps as he wants for Scotland. He's got a huge, you know, he's got a huge future ahead of him, but the here and now is pretty good as well. And today, him and, you know, Callum McGregor as well, both of them in the holding role were magnificent.
Does it say everything about the way you defended that Harry Kane is substituted?
Yeah, look, Harry's, you know, one of the players that you constantly have to keep a watch on. But, you know, there was a few of them out there. You know, Foden got substituted as well. I believe we kept him, you know, quite quiet. Sterling, you know, quite quiet. So, and then the boys kind of came on. You know, I think this whole crowd lifted when Jack Grealish came on. But to be fair, our right-hand side managed to keep him quiet, and he didn't do much. So, look, credit to all the boys in there. A really good result, but it's important that it's not a pointless result. It's important that we use it and try and get out of this group.
Well, you can hear the Scotland fans cheering. They've enjoyed it. Thanks, Andy.
Top man, thank you, mate. Top man.
Scottish fans certainly did enjoy it. Let's go pitch side now. Seema Jaswal's with Scott Brown and Gary Neville.
Yeah, the Scottish fans did enjoy it, and so did Scott Brown over there, still smiling. They did put in such a great performance, didn't they? And as Graham said in the studio, they were the better of the two sides. The only thing missing was the goal.
Yeah, spot on. Scotland were a great team, to be perfectly honest. They worked hard for each other. One went, two went, they all pressed together as a proper team. But the performance, they frustrated England, and especially in that midfield, Billy Gilmore, Callum McGregor and John McGinn, the three of them worked extremely hard, and they outpowered them, outran England. England looked leggy today. They struggled to break through the lines, but that was due to Steve Clarke's formation that we played. He got his tactics spot on today, and quite rightly so.
Gary, how would you describe England's performance tonight?
It was a really poor performance, massive disappointment in this ground, underpinned by poor physical levels. I don't know what Gareth will be thinking in terms of how he corrects that for the next game, because he said during commentary they're really lethargic.
Why do you think that was?
I don't know. Is it too big for them in terms of expectation, in terms of, you know, for a few of those lads, it's the biggest game they've probably played in. All the media leading up to the game, sometimes it can just mentally take it out of you. I have to say, from the very first few minutes of the game, those balls played up towards Dykes and Adams, they got encouragement from that. They won those early balls. England never won the ball high up the pitch. You just mentioned there the three midfield players for Scotland. They were better on the ball than the three midfield players for England. So in every single department today, I never felt that England, only Pickford actually. I thought Pickford handled the set pieces well, the pressure that they put on him. I thought he made a couple of good saves. I think he's the only one that I can think of that played at a level. I think all over the pitch Scotland were better, and those physical levels need looking at, because that was such a lacklustre display in such a big game.
Yeah, I mean, the whole team looked physically leggy, but for Scotland, on the other hand, they didn't. They picked up the point, but they still have a big game ahead of them on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's kept our dream alive to getting through, but the thing that we now need to do is try and score a goal. We have to win the game to get to the 4 points, and we need a little bit of luck as well. But if they do that, they work as hard as they possibly can, as they did today. We've got a great chance because it's the team spirit. The fans are here, they backed us throughout the whole. But now they've got to go in and make sure they win the game on Tuesday now.
What about selection issues for Gareth Southgate ahead of England's final game?
I wouldn't get too concerned about selection in the next few days. People saying he picked the wrong team, he picked the right team. Honestly, that's irrelevant. Those players out on the pitch tonight, it wasn't to do with the tactics, it wasn't to do with selection. And I wouldn't say it's to do with attitude. Those lads out there have got a good attitude. There was something missing tonight, whether there's something in the build-up to the game, whether it's the expectation of playing against Scotland at Wembley, something has got to them in their heads that's meant that physically they've just completely gone on that pitch, and they were nowhere near it. I mean, no pressurising, no urgency on the ball, slow passing, everything that you wouldn't want we saw from England tonight, and I don't think that's down to selection. He tried to freshen it up with Grealish and Rashford coming on. But let's be clear, when Grealish and Rashford came on, England didn't improve. Honestly, I didn't see any improvement whatsoever. That's not down to those two. I just didn't see any than I did before.
OK, well, Gary, Scott, thank you very much. We're going to get out of the rain now. Back to you, Mark.
Yes, it did start raining again at kick-off. Graham, inevitably the result will always dictate the nature of discussion after selection. If you're Steve Clarke this evening, you're having a glass of whatever, you go Gilmore, big tick, Adams, big tick, McGregor, big tick. Tierney came back, he was always
all of them.
back.
All of them. You know, and you know, you said at the start of the show, I was growing in confidence. It was when I wrote our midfield down. That midfield we had tonight is a footballing midfield. It's not got a couple of sitting midfield players like England have. At this level, you can't have that. You need more football in your team. You know, Scotland tonight looked like a proper team without that cutting edge, which we know is the hardest thing to find. And I feel tonight that the manager got nearly everything right, other than us getting a goal and winning the game. I think the players, to a man, were fabulous. And I'm sorry, boy, I don't accept that England didn't start right or the team for England wasn't right. Scotland were really good tonight. Really good.
Yeah, but Graham, we didn't do anything to Scotland to. You say
you can only do.
I'm not going to take anything from
play,
Scotland because I think Scotland.
But I think people are, and I think Scotland tonight were fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely, they were fabulous. But what happened? What helped them is the fact that England, like Gary said, there was no intensity. There was no closing down. Scotland built themselves into the game, and the only thing that stopped Scotland was they didn't take.
But how much of that in football is that the opposition don't let you do it, or you're not capable of doing it? That's always the discussion in football, isn't it?
We weren't for whatever reason, we weren't capable tonight. And Scotland, I don't disagree. Their midfield played a lot better than us. They just didn't take their chances. We're lucky to get out of it with a draw.
We go back to the.
You know, you're only allowed to be as good as opposition will allow you. Scotland started right. Stayed on the front foot. Yeah, they came under a bit of pressure because you will in 90 minutes here at Wembley. But I just felt tonight, if you didn't know who the two teams were and you came down from another planet, there's a team trying to play football. They've got a bit about them. They've obviously spent a lot of time playing with each other. England looked a disjointed outfit tonight. There was no cohesion. There was no purpose in their passing. You know, the two. I come back to Phillips and I come back to Declan Rice. That, for me, because we were midfield players, please ask Roy his opinion. That doesn't work. The two peas out the same pod.
Scotland definitely won the midfield battle, and the only big criticism, obviously, of the two English midfielders. Your first option as a midfielder is always, can I pass it forward? I felt their option today, their first option they had in their mindset was sideways and backwards. Got to pass it forward. Don't be afraid to lose it. Gary mentioned there being a home as well for England tonight. We saw Scotland suffer the other day. Home advantage is fantastic, but it does bring in added pressure, and they didn't deal with it well enough. England.
Can I ask you quickly? Do you think Scotland played extremely well? Do you think actually they've missed a trick by not winning the game? Do you think would you go that far?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, but again we talk about the goal scorers. If you haven't got that quality, the top end of the pitch, you're going to come up short.
Okay, let's get some England reaction. Very disappointing evening for them. Here's Tyrone Mings with Gabriel.
Tyrone, it's a point. England pretty much qualified, but what was missing in attacking terms tonight?
I think just the intensity from all of us. We tell you, absolutely delighted with a clean sheet and with a point because it's another step closer to what is our goal, which is qualification from this group. But yeah, we lacked intensity. But I've played in many games where the intensity hasn't been there and we've lost. So we can take great heart in the fact that we defended well. And when I say defended well, I mean right through the team. But yeah, the intensity wasn't quite there for us.
Does it say everything about the spark that England were missing that Harry Kane, England's top scorer, has taken off?
No, I don't think it's. I don't think that's a reflection of his performance or him. I think we as a team have a responsibility to attack together and to defend together. We shouldn't rely too much on the defence to defend, and we shouldn't rely too much just on the attackers to attack. So we all have to take responsibility when things don't quite go right. Likewise, we kept the clean sheet and we'll take the point.
England have kept 2 clean sheets in a row. That's 7 clean sheets in 8. Let's go back down to the touchline, live to Gabriel Clark.
Gareth, how do you sum up the night? The players have talked about a lack of intensity from your team.
Yeah, I think it was a frustrating night. I think we know we can play better. We've got to give Scotland huge credit. They defended valiantly, they played well, and in the end we didn't do enough to win the game. If you're not going to win the game in a tournament, you've got to make sure you don't lose it. So we understand that it's a disappointment for our supporters especially, but we've got to dust ourselves down and move on with the next game.
Why did you take off Harry Kane tonight? Because captain, talisman, top scorer?
Yeah, look, I just felt that we needed a few more runs in behind. Felt Marcus would give us that energy, and you know, we've got to try to get the win at that point. But you know, we have to make these decisions based on what we see.
What's missing from Harry's game right now? Because he's not getting many touches, certainly in the opposition box.
Well, look, I think the whole team, we can look at ourselves, and you know, it starts with me. We've got to be better. We know we didn't do enough to win the game tonight, not enough attempts on goal. So that's something we've got to go away and look at over the next couple of days.
You do have, of course, great attacking options. That's the thing, isn't it? Is it juggling those options? Is it finding the best combination that's the problem?
Yeah, look, I think we're still working those patterns. We're playing at a very high level of games under huge intensity, and to find space tonight was really, really difficult. And Scotland got men back into their box really well, defended really well, and we weren't able to open them up.
Is it a reality check for you, for some England fans?
No, I think I know exactly where this team is. It's a very young team that played tonight, and some of them won't have experienced tonight under that sort of intensity and pressure. So that's a huge learning for them. What we've got to do is make sure that we improve for our next game.
And where do you, but the game against the Czech Republic now, winner wins the group. Sum that up, and do you have in mind changes?
We've got to see how everybody is in the dressing room after the game. Obviously prepare for a different type of opponent, and we've got to make the right decisions.
Thanks, Gareth.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Well, Ian, that's a really interesting comment, with the captain and the main goal scorer coming off, that Gareth Southgate said they needed more energy. I would suggest to you that doesn't sound very good for Harry Kane.
That doesn't sound good for Harry Kane. It doesn't sound good listening to Tyrone Mings coming out and saying that they lacked intensity. We're playing against Scotland in a tournament. If you can't find intensity in that game, then I don't think you're ever going to find it. We're constantly going on about Harry Kane and his intensity and why he didn't play well, so you take him off, like Roy said. The fact is, I'm more worried about why we're taking Phil Foden off. Phil Foden should not have come off tonight. He's the one that when you get it into him with people around him, he wants to play, and that's what we needed.
Plenty for Gareth Southgate to think about, and for Scotland as well, who you would imagine will have to beat Croatia. An outstanding result this evening, but they'll need to find a goal scorer against Croatia at Hampden next week to progress in the Euros. More reaction to come after the break.
Steve, a lot of very happy Scotland fans behind us here. How do you sum up the night?
Good night. I thought we played well. I think we were a little bit unfairly criticised after the game on Monday. I know I've got a good group of players, and I think they showed that tonight. I'm delighted for the players and delighted for my staff.
Do you think, though, that a couple of those chances should have been taken, that you should have won the game?
We had chances to win the game. England had some moments as well. I think it was a good game between two good teams. You wouldn't have known which one was the favourite to be in the last four, which is a credit to us. We worked ever so hard when England had the ball, put in a great shift. But the most pleasing fact was we played when we had the ball, and we created a number of chances in the game.
You talk about playing with the ball. Where do you place that performance on his debut start for Scotland by Billy Gilmour?
Yeah, it's good, but we knew before we put him in, we know Billy can play. It was just getting the right moment to put him into the team. Tonight was his big moment, and he didn't let us down. But nobody was surprised by it, certainly not in our camp.
All really encouraging, Graham, but we go back to where we started against Croatia. You need to find a goal scorer. Where's that goal going to come from?
Well, hopefully, we've got a midfield, we've got an attacking midfield. No out-and-out goal scorers there, but, we've got people who are capable of goals. The two strikers, as we said before, are not goal scorers at this level. We might get a set piece. Big boy Dykes up front on most headers against Mings, who's a big handful himself. But listen, what I'm hoping now, Mark, is that we came here as the underdog. No one fancied us. Now when we go back, it's typical. It's the same in England, same in Ireland, same in Scotland. The expectation levels will now go through the roof for the game next Tuesday. We must deal with that pressure and play like that. And hopefully, someone comes up with a bit of magic and we get a goal. We could have won it tonight. I think a draw is a fair result, but I thought we played a better football tonight.
And you've given yourselves every chance. That's the key, in your own hands, exactly. against Croatia. You can't win a championship in the group stages. You can only lose it by going out. So England, it's don't panic, but there are a lot of questions to answer in there. Kane particularly.
Yeah, Kane's a big problem. Gareth, you saw in his interview there, will be disappointed again with their energy levels. But Gareth got a lot of praise the other day. Typical manager today. Tonight he'll probably be criticised. But he's looking at the bigger picture. I'm sure they'll bounce back in the next game.
I like the way you said that. Typical manager. It's a bit easier here, isn't it?
Of course. Easiest part of the game up here. Yeah, it's easy.
Never have a bad game up here. If you're Calvert-Lewin, you might be thinking, I'll get a run out against the Czech Republic with Kane out of form.
Well, Kane's out of form, but Kane will start against the Czech Republic. Make no mistake about that. They've got to get the players who are meant to be playing, the defensive players, playing well to create chances to score some goals.
Would you say that? Don't panic from England's point of view?
No, but they've got to be better. I didn't think they were that good against Croatia. I'm sorry, and I'm not standing here with a Scottish head on saying that. I didn't think they were that good.
Your head looks Scottish to me.
It's a very Scottish one tonight, and it'll be a sore one tomorrow. But anyway, but I didn't think they were very good against Croatia. I thought they got away with it. They looked solid. They were efficient without being sparkling. You know, Harry Kane is your one proven goal scorer at this level. If he's not scoring goals, you're going to be in trouble.
It's been a really good night. Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. We'll be back tomorrow night with action from Group F as Germany look to bounce back from that defeat to France. Germany face the defending champions Portugal, 4 p.m. on ITV and STV. Then on Sunday, with one foot in the knockout stages, Wales are in Rome to take on the Italians. Live on ITV, all the build-up and coverage of Switzerland-Turkey on ITV4 from 3:55. Well, after underwhelming at Hampden, Scotland make their point tonight. Now work to do for both teams on Tuesday, and we have both of those matches live. Thanks for your company. Bye-bye.
England against Scotland at Wembley is a whole new ball game. The most anticipated sporting event of the year. John Stones is there, hits the post. O'Donnell, big save. Here's Mason Mount. Drops to Dykes. Robertson bending one in. Dykes getting up there. It comes to Shea Adams. It will certainly fill